What's up, guys? Matt with BAAM Ranch. Thanks for watching. I went through Facebook today and found a whole bunch of survival and preparedness questions. My son just put a pizza in the oven, so we'll try to go through all of those before the pizza's done. Austin, hit it with that timer.
Alexa, set an 18-minute timer.
18 minutes, starting now.
All right, 18-minute timer. All right, Austin, what's our first question?
P38 Can Opener.
P38 Can Opener. Everybody says you got to have a P38 can opener. And what those are is they were little can openers that the military issued for rations. And they say you need one in your go bag and in your car and everywhere. And these things, if anybody has ever used one, they're an absolute pain to use. And what are you doing carrying a can of canned food in your pack? You ought to have food supplies stored wherever you're going, wherever your family's at, wherever your bug out location is. You ought to have an actual can opener. And in an emergency situation, if you can't figure out how to open a can without that stupid little can opener, I mean, if you want one, go ahead and buy it. You've got bigger problems. And let's be honest, most everybody carries a multi-tool. You need to have one in your kit anyway. So I'd skip the P38 can opener unless you're just an absolute fan of punishment. Use the one that's on your multi-tool, or better yet, just buy a can opener, a manual can opener, and use that. Let's go to the next one.
Canned food and bag.
Canned food and bag. We already discussed that one.
What AM radio station do I use?
What AM radio station should you use? I saw that one on Facebook today. And this was what I'm assuming was somebody with Florida. They're currently being hit by a hurricane right now. Heart goes out to those people. And there were several questions of what AM radio station should I be using to keep track of the hurricane? Well, the answer to that is pretty simple. You turn on your radio and you scan it until you find one that's giving information. If a hurricane is actively moving through where you're at, or a storm, or anything else for that matter, they're probably going to be talking about that. Trying to figure out a predetermined station, you don't know whether or not that station's even going to be up and running, nothing like that. So your best bet is to just turn it on, scan until you find something, write it down, remember it, do whatever you need to do. Find as many of them as you can that are coming in good, solid, and clear. And, at least 3 of them. That way you can scroll back and forth and get your information from those if one goes down, and get another view, another side of the information if you need to as well. Next.
Barter.
Barter. There is a big deal about buying stuff for the purpose of barter. Speaking post-collapse, all of that stuff. And I don't necessarily have a problem with bartering. I think it's a good idea to be thinking about that right now. But here's my deal. At this point, I'm just going to buy the things that I would be bartering for. And I would limit my barter to things that are either seen as money, gold, silver, or a commodity of some kind, vegetables, something that you might have a surplus for. I'm not going to barter ammunition because I don't want to barter with somebody with something that can be used to take the stuff that I have. A lot of people talk about buying cigarettes and alcohol. Well, first of all, the cigarettes aren't going to last. They're going to dry out. They're going to be useless by the time you need them. And if you do find a way to keep them wet, they're just going to mold. Alcohol, you're probably going to need that yourself anyway. Yeah, go ahead. If you want to save up some alcohol for some barter, that's fine. But I think it's more important to focus on acquiring the things that you would barter with now, so you don't have to barter for them. To some extent, there's a little bit of nuance to that. Next, Austin.
Money won't matter.
Money won't matter. Man, this is a popular one, and I've discussed this before. But after the collapse, money won't matter. You get on any type of prepper type anything, and somebody talks about saving up money. And the first thing somebody says is, well, money won't matter during the collapse. And that's stupid. I'm looking around. I looked out the window. I asked the cat, Austin, are things currently collapsed right now?
No.
No. Things are going good right now. At least for me, where I'm at. So money matters now. And you absolutely need to be stacking money. Why are you going to wait until the world ends to live a good life? Money gives you agility. The guy who has his roof blow off that has $120,000 in the bank, it means a lot less to that guy than the guy who has a flat tire that's $300 overdrawn. It's just a fact. Money does matter. And yes, people will come repossess your stuff after the collapse. One of the biggest businesses during the Great Depression was repossessions. And here's just a little tidbit. Everybody says, well, they can try to come where I'm at. We'll see what happens. If it's illegal to shoot them now, it's also still going to be an unjustified murder to shoot them then. So, yeah, money matters. Stack it as deep as you can. Hit the next one.
EMP.
EMP. Dude, everybody wants to focus on EMPs. Every freaking prepper and survival site you go to, they're worried about EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, whether that be from the sun, solar flare, or nuclear attack or something like that. This is ridiculous. First of all, a widespread EMP is extremely unlikely. The more likely scenario that you need to worry about is what Florida's looking at like right now, which is a hurricane coming and blowing everybody's house away. It's what North Carolina's going through, Tennessee, Kentucky, all those places, which is entire cities being erased by a flood. Losing your job is something you need to prepare for. Inflation. EMP is something that is so far down the list of priority that by the time you're ready, you've prepared for like general preparedness. You're pretty well covered for that anyway, because all preparedness is simply being able to continue your normal when everyone else's normal stops. And all of these different situations, whether it be an EMP or a nuclear war or economic collapse, it really comes down to just one thing that happens, and that's a stoppage of systems and services. The 911 system, the communication system, the emergency response system, the logistics system that brings the food to the grocery store, those systems and services. So focus on systems and services and you'll be covered for the EMP stuff. What's next?
Gear whore.
Gear whore. This is a good one. Everybody wants to buy the coolest survival knife. Everybody wants to buy the coolest fire starter. And do you have the latest and greatest rifle that Garand Thumb just reviewed, or Lucas Botkin from T-Rex Arms? Everybody wants to buy all that stuff. And it has a place. I'm not telling you not to buy guns. I buy one every chance I get. But they tends to happen at the detriment of, can you make bread from scratch? Do you know how to cook broccoli? Can you change a tire? What would it take for you to become the guy that everybody knows that they can call when they need help? These are skills, right? Going out and getting exercise. Spending some time outside in inclement weather. These are things that we need to focus on much more than just buying the gear. Austin, reach in the drawer and hand me a knife, a sharp knife, not a butter knife. Let's see it. This knife right here. This works just fine for a survival knife. It's all the survival knife you really need. Don't need anything more than that. Your cool fire starter. Big lighter, Buy a 6-pack of them. Keep one in your pocket. Keep one in every vehicle. Keep 5 of them in your bug out bag. You know, all that stuff. So yeah, it's not really necessary to focus on the gear stuff. What's the next one, Austin?
Become SEAL Team 6.
Yeah, becoming SEAL Team 6. This is just a general one of everybody having these fantasies that they're gonna, at the end of, during the collapse, they're gonna be running around in plate carriers and ballistic helmets with rifles, and everybody's gonna become some Delta Force SEAL Team 6 SOG Special Operations Ranger. That's just not the case. And if you do, you need to remember, no matter how much training you've had, you don't have a QRF force that's gonna come and save you. You don't have air support. And eventually you're gonna run against somebody that may not be better than you. They're just gonna be more lucky than you. And aside from that, if you're running around raiding everybody, well, you probably don't deserve to live very long anyway. Which you won't, because if your main focus on collapse as far as prepping goes is how you're gonna fight your way out of it and gunfights and all that stuff, doing it all wrong, man. Take care of you and yours, and taking care of you and yours does not involve getting shot. Looking at it from a group perspective, if you got 6 guys and one of y'all goes down, that's a significant hit to getting the laundry washed, cooking meals, tending a garden. If we're going all out collapse stuff, you can't afford to lose one guy. A wife can't afford to lose a husband, and children can't afford to lose a father.
Solar generator.
Solar generators. Everybody wants these things. I hate the word solar generators because they're not actually solar. Well, they can be solar, but they're not generators. But most of them are not solar, and they're not generators. They're battery banks that you can plug a solar panel into. They don't generate anything. They store it. And I think, you can run a fridge off of them for a little bit, a few hours. And people think they're going to be able to get one of these things and run their house off these solar generators. Unless you've got a ton of money buying one of these off-the-shelf type things, unless it's like, a Tesla Powerwall or something like that, it's not gonna do what you want. It'll keep your laptop and your phone charged, tablets and stuff like that for a few days, but we need to view it as that. Might run a TV for a little bit if you get bored. There's no way you're gonna run an oven. And if you're running a fridge on that, it's going to go dead pretty quick. If you're looking for an emergency preparedness generator, go with a fuel-based one. I like gasoline, propane, dual fuel. A lot of people talk about the natural gas. Thing to remember about that is whatever disaster comes through, one house, one tree falls and crushes one gas meter. For the safety of the entire neighborhood, they just shut gas off to the whole neighborhood. And you wind up with a generator that doesn't work. It's cool if you got one, but that's not the one I'd buy first. Dual fuel, propane, gasoline would be the first choice. After that would be a gasoline powered generator. Next one.
Survival seeds and buckets.
Survival seeds and buckets. How many of y'all have bought survival seeds and never planted them? You think you're just gonna go and get this sealed package of heirloom survival seeds when the world ends and throw them in the ground and all of a sudden you're a farmer? It's not how it's gonna work. I'm willing to bet more than half of those seeds probably won't even perform in your particular soil. And how do you know that? If you have survival seeds, put them in the ground and grow them. If you want to save the seeds out of the plants that grew. Save those. You always got some fresh ones. And the survival buckets, the food buckets. Now, not all of that freeze-dried stuff is bad. I view that as freeze-dried meats and stuff. That might be a good idea. Maybe like cheese or milk, something like that. Hand me that right there, Austin. This is freeze-dried coffee. But most of those meal buckets are filled with rice. Austin, go get me a bag of rice out of the cabinet over there. And they advertise a 25-year shelf life. You don't need, look on the up one shelf, it's about a half empty bag of rice. You don't need freeze-dried rice. When sealed up, this bag of rice, what's left of it, will easily last 25 years. And it's way cheaper than going and buying rice. This bag of beans, you can get every bit of 25 years out of it, and you don't need to go buy some freeze-dried bucket. Now, with protein stuff, I see the point in that, but buying them for meals, I'd probably skip out on that, let alone the fact that they only have like 1,200 calories. And it's my estimation that if it gets bad enough where you need your pallet of freeze-dried food, you're gonna need more calories than that. 3,200 calories per person per day is what it takes for a military age male to working in a strenuous environment and not lose muscle mass. So I treat everybody, the 90-year-old grandma and the infant, as a military age adult male. And worst case scenario, I've got extra I can share with other people. So 3,200 calories per day is way more than the 1,200 calories per day survival food bucket. What's the next one, Austin?
Best way to store salt.
Best way to store salt. This puppy wants out. Would you mind letting the puppy out? Won't disturb the video. Best way to store salt long term. I see this come up online quite a bit. Austin, why don't you grab our box of kosher salt out of the cabinet? Here's the thing about salt. Salt is a freaking rock. That's it. It's a rock. It is tens of thousands of years old. This salt right here already has everything that I need to be able to store it long after the human civilization has gone extinct. I can pour this in a bowl, and as long as I keep it from physically leaving, whether that be an animal eating it, water washing it away, the wind blowing, or somebody stealing it, salt that sits in a bowl, just an open bowl, will be good for thousands of years. There's nothing you need to do special other than just making sure it doesn't physically leave the area that you put it to store salt. Hand me that. Honey is the same way. There goes the pizza. It's time to eat. So it looks like we're gonna cut that video short right there.